Rahul Sethi, he's a practicing corporate professional with over 25 years of great experience. He's also the director of our organization, ProTouch Professional Training, and is a globally recognized thought leader and has been listed among the top 200 in his field. He's a Marshall Goldsmith, an ICF coach, and believes in result oriented training and coaching interventions to inspire change and accelerate the leadership journey. So I welcome you, Rahul sir. Please.
Thank you, Amit. Thanks for such a lovely introduction. A very
You're most
warm
welcome, sir.
welcome to everyone who has joined in on this good weather today, I would say. In Gurgaon, it has been very hot for last few weeks. And today, I think it was a bit pleasant. A very good evening once again, and a very warm welcome. We have about 1 hour with us, and we will try to make best use of it. Would love to know from you how many of you are already coaching. Now, just write coaching in the chat box if you're already practicing coach. How many of you are aspiring coaches, right? Aspiring coach, if you're looking to become a coach in near future, just use the chat box. You can mention if you're already coaching or if you are an aspiring coach. Dipali is aspiring coach. That's nice. There's Anima. Preet is aspiring coach too. That's a news to me. I never knew you're aspiring coach. Very nice. Where you want to become a professional? Stanley is already a coach. That's nice. Daniel is aspiring coach. Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing. So let us begin with a small exercise, and we'll talk about coaching today. Let me show you some pictures. Look at all these images of great personalities. What do they have in common? You can unmute yourself, talk about it. What do they have in common?
In their field.
Sorry? They're all leaders. Yeah, they're hardworking. Very nice.
They're all champions.
They're all champions in their own field.
Passion.
Yeah.
They're very passionate. Yeah, they all have their passion. Very nice. What else? They're inspiration to a lot of people. Yes, they are ideal for many. Very nice. They're all self-made. That's good. Role models. They have one more thing in common. You know what?
They are all successful in their field.
Yes, they're always successful in their field. And they have one more thing in common. They've all been supported by great coaches. And large part of their success, they've, on record, they have contributed to their coach. And one of these images you may not be very familiar of, which is on the bottom right. You know who is this personality? Any guesses who's this personality on bottom right? Getting the President Award.
He is the Chandu champion.
Absolutely. He is the
Yes.
original Chandu champion. If you have watched the movie Chandu Champion, he is the original Chandu champion, who received, he's a Paralympic gold medalist for India, and one of the unsung heroes. And if you watch the movie, you will realize what's the important role the coach has played in his life. Yeah, so they all been supported. All great personalities, successful people around the world have all been supported with great coaches. So let's talk about coaching today. Now, coaching as a word, friend, is started. This word was created for the first time, evolved in 1500s when and this word came from you know, a horse cart which used to have a coach behind the horse, and this coach used to carry people from one place to another. That's where this word originally came from. And today also in many wagons uh, is, the synonym of that is a coach. We used in railways also many a time. People ask, what's your coach number? And
Yes.
coach is used to, and what's the role of a coach in that scenario?
Mentor.
The coach was a tool that is used to carry people from point A to point B, from one place to another place. It carries people from one place to another place. And that's where the word originally came from, as a coach, and is still used as a coach. In 1800, 1830, somewhere around that time, this word got entry into the business world and the sports world, where people who were supporting professionals from going from one place to another were started calling as coach. Now let's look at who is a coach and what's the definition of coaching. What is coaching? Any thoughts? Anyone like to share? Coaching is training. Okay. Dipali is saying coaching is training. Anyone else? What is coaching?
Coach is a person who recognizes the
Ravi, your
impact
voice
of
is
the
not very clear.
and their knowledge.
Someone who makes a difference. It's guiding the learner. All right. Very good.
Rahul, you can hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, we can.
I feel I myself from training field. I feel coaching probably differentiates itself by saying that it helps the individual to discover from within oneself.
Very nice. That's very close to the right perspective on this. So let's look at what is coaching first. Now, coaching, friends, is the way ICF defined, and we'll talk about ICF today. The way ICF defined coaching is a partnering. Coaching is defined as partnering with the client or coachee, what's called as the coaching world, partnering with the client in a thought-provoking and creative process. It's a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So it's partner. It is not one above the other. It is partnering in a thought-provoking and creative process. So it's a process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. There's another way of defining coaching, the way uh, one of the biggest coach in the corporate world, Marshall Goldsmith. Marshall defines coaching as helping successful leaders achieve a positive long-term change in their behavior for themselves, their people, and their team. That's how Marshall defines coaching. Now, there are a lot of thoughts coming on the chat. Rakshit is saying the one who helps you in becoming a better version of yourself. Rani is saying who listen without any judgment. That's true too. Guiding them to get better outcomes. That's nice, Stanley. Guiding on your strength and weakness and implementing them is what Anima is saying. Very nice. So all are correct. Now it's important for us to take a pause here and look at what are the meaning of different terms, because in the world of L&D we hear a lot of uh, word terms like teaching, training, mentoring, coaching, and it's a good idea to take few minutes here and understand what's the difference between them. Let's start with teaching. What is teaching? And what's the objective of teaching? Anyone? Just unmute yourself.
Rahul, teaching probably is coming from the premise that somebody has a certain piece of knowledge which he would like to share with others, assuming that the others need that knowledge and do not have it that time.
Very good. Very good. Big round of applause to Saurabh. I think that's absolutely the right way of defining teaching. Whenever the objective of development, so all are developmental activities. Whenever the objective of development is to transfer knowledge, in that case, the teaching is the best method of development. Someone who has the knowledge and can transfer to someone else is called as a teacher, and the person who takes that knowledge from the teacher is called as a learner. Now, what is training? So let's from teaching move to training, and a lot of us are trainers here. So what is training? And what's the objective of training? So friends, whenever the objective of development is along with transferring knowledge is also building skills, how to apply that knowledge and develop skills. So whenever the objective of development is learning a new skill or enhancing an existing skill is training. Person who enhances the skills or develop a new skill is called as a trainer, and someone who takes the new skill is called as a trainee. And whenever the objective of development is apart from transferring knowledge, also to develop skills is training. Let's take example of swimming. What makes a human body swim or float on water? Buoyancy. If the objective is to tell people that buoyancy is a principle that makes a human body swim on water, is teaching. But if you want to teach someone or train someone how to swim, which is developing a skill, then in that case we need training. Yeah? If I have to tell someone what are the 5 ways in which you can better manage your time, is teaching. But if I have to develop skill of better time management, is training. So that's a key difference between teaching and training. Both are great ways, but depend on what's the objective of development. Now let's look at mentoring. What is mentoring? We understood teaching, training. Now let's look at mentoring. Surbi, you raised hand earlier. I could not take your point. Would you like to go ahead?
Yes, sir. So mentoring is that is what that it's a kind of uh it's a kind of the mentoring he has experience basically and is
Hmm.
mentoring to what is sharing knowledge to anyone. That is
Very
mentoring.
good. Yeah. And how it is different from teaching?
Teaching is what that it's a kind of learning basically.
Hmm.
Like we're teaching to anyone. That is teaching basically.
Okay. Very good. You're thinking the right direction. Anyone else? Anima Kara is saying guiding you on the right path and create a roadmap for your goal and help to achieve it. Very good. That's very close. Trusted counselor. All right. That's what Narendra Kaur is saying. Now, friends, mentoring is a process to fast track the path to success. Mentoring is a process to fast track path to success. Someone who has the experience and can tell you, or someone what is the fastest and the best or the most appropriate path to success is mentoring. Someone who guides this is called as a mentor, and someone who receives this mentoring is called as a mentee. Now, what all these three have in common, which is teaching, training, and mentoring. One thing that is common between all these three is telling approach. Whether you're teaching, you're training, or you're mentoring, you are telling the person getting developed. Someone who is responsible for developing other is telling people who are getting developed. And all these three, which is teaching, training, mentoring, is transferring through telling approach. Now, how coaching is different? How coaching is different? Now, coaching is also another form of developing, but the objective here is to build skills or fill up the belief gap. Now, teaching, training, and mentoring is predominantly there to fill the skill gap. Coaching fills the belief gap. And that is done through a lot of asking, listening, asking, listening, asking, reflecting. Those are the techniques that are used for coaching. Now, time permitting, we'll spend a little time towards the end talking about why it is important when people are getting developed and what's the role of it. Time permitting, we will try to give you a little overview towards the end. But right now, let us look at, once we have understood the difference between teaching, training, mentoring, and coaching, just give me a thumbs up if you're clear on what is the difference between the four: teaching, training, mentoring, and in which situation, what works best. Yeah, so we have a point to make, your hand raise.
Oh, sorry, by mistake, it was better.
Oh,
Very
by
sorry,
mistake.
sir. Okay, sorry, sir. Yeah.
No problem. Is everyone clear? Just give me a thumbs up on your screen if things are clear to you so far. Yeah. All right, great. So let's move ahead. And now let's talk about ICF first. ICF, in the coaching world, ICF stands for International Coaching Federation, is uh, known as a top authority representing the highest standard in professional coaching. Now, in most cases, as you know, training and coaching is highly unregulated industry. So there is no formal authorities to certify. But thankfully, in the coaching world, ICF happens to be one very, very credible authority that certify coaches for their standard of professionalism and capabilities as a coach. And how do they certify? ICF credential, and they certify through credentials. ICF credential is a professional certification indicating that a person who is getting uh, receiving that credential has met specific standards and requirements that are designed to develop and refine the coaching skill. It's a great certification or credential that ICF gives that world over is highly recognized, let it be individuals or corporates. It has become a de facto recognition of what is the skill set and experience a coach is carrying. ICF basically provides three levels of credentials to its coaches. ICF does a lot of other things apart from uh, giving credentials to coaches. It also runs the community as ICF memberships. It certifies coaches in the form of credentials. It also certifies organizations and do a lot of other community work in the field of coaching. One of the key areas, as far as ICF is concerned, is credentials for coaches. There are three levels of credential that ICF provides. They are called as ACC, PCC, and MCC. Wherever you have questions, friend, you can please raise hand, and I will pause and take your question. So again we can keep clarifying alongside. The three level of certification, which is ACC. ACC stands, so that's a level one. ACC stands for Associate Certified Coach. Then there's a level 2 certification, which is called as PCC, which stands for Professional Certified Coach. And the third one is MCC, which is called as Master Certified Coach. Now, a lot of people have a lot of confusion with these terms, the way to get it, the pathway, and we thought it would be a good idea to spend time today with prospective coaches, helping them get a lot of clarity on these terms and what are the best way of having these credentials if you feel to go for one, and also clarify some of your doubts or questions or apprehensions that you may have in your pathway to become a coach. Now there are three levels. We have studied that there are three levels, which is ACC, PCC, and MCC. Now let's look at what are the requirements. If you wish to become a certified ICF coach, what are the requirements to become a coach? Now, these are 5 requirements that is mandatory for you to become ICF certified coach at any level, which is ACC, PCC, or MCC. So let's start with the first level, which is ACC, which is called as an associate certified coach. The 5 requirements. The first requirement is you need to undergo a coach training. You have to undergo coach training for a specific number of hours. Now, for at an ACC level, you need to undergo minimum 60 hours of training as a coach. You need to be trained to be a coach for minimum of 60 hours. For PCC, which is Professional Certified Coach, you need to undergo a training of minimum 125 hours, which is cumulative of 60 at an ACC level. So these are all additive. So for ACC level, 60 hours. For PCC level, if you're applying for PCC level credentials, it is 125 hours. And for MCC level credential, it is 200 hours of coach training. To apply for MCC, you need to pass through the PCC, and that we will talk about in some time. That's the first requirement. You need to undergo a training to be a coach. Second requirement is the mentoring hours. You need to be mentored through a certified mentor for minimum of 10 hours, irrespective of the level that you're going. Whether you're going for ACC, PCC, or MCC level, you need to undergo mentoring through a certified mentor. The third are the first 2 requirements clear to everyone? Any questions on the first 2 requirements? You need to undergo coach training and
Yes.
you need to undergo mentoring.
Rahul, Saurabh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know about this first two, but I needed some guidance from you. Why ICF wants the mentoring hours? I understand it's a need, but if you could just throw some light, what's the value addition from this mentoring over and above the training?
Yeah, very good question. So sort of the mentoring hours are required to, so what happens in mentoring? So mentoring are basically, there are 2 parts of mentoring. One is the observed coaching. There's something called as observed coaching. When you're getting trained as a coach, so coach observes, so the mentor observes you coaching. Listen to your recordings. Either they observe you in the live coaching format or they ask you to record. They listen to your recording and provide you one-on-one feedback, saying which are the areas where you're doing well, which are the areas you need to improve. So these are one-on-one feedback that is provided during these mentoring hours. And that's the reason this is mandatory. Whether you have received, one is you have gone through a group training as part of the training format, you have developed the skill, but at the same time, have you gone through minimum 10 hours of conversations with the mentor? Now, out of which some part of it can be done in the groups, but some part of it has to be on a one-on-one basis where the mentor tells you the areas which are your strength as a coach and areas which you have to really watch for to become a better coach. So that's the reason mentoring is mandatory. So does it answer your question?
Yes, Rahul. And one more, if you don't mind. You
Yes, go ahead.
mentioned you mentioned that ACC, PCC number of hours training is cumulative, which I understood. Suppose I do ACC in 1 year and PCC the next year, then the two number of hours will be added up for PCC 125, or again we have to attend 125 separately for PCC.
Yeah, so I will talk about that in some time if that is okay. So I'm parking your question because it is anyway getting covered. I will circle it back to your question in some time. I also saw a hand raise from Anjul. Anjul is there?
Yes, Rahul sir, thank
Yeah,
you.
hi, hi.
Thank you. Hi. So I just wanted to understand on the mentoring hours. I think I have got some clarity on it. So for the mentoring hours, you mentioned that you have to be mentored by somebody while you're doing a coaching. Either they're there with you while you're doing a session, or maybe you can share your recording. So is that how it is, or is
Yeah.
there that you also have to mentor somebody? I mean,
No, you don't have to mentor. You have to get mentored.
you have to get mentored. All right. And when we talk about these coaching practice hours, which is like 100 hours, and it says
So I'm coming to
75.
that. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
coming to that. So we have just covered the first two parts. So I just want to be sure whether the first two parts are clear.
sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'll take your question on once I'm at that piece. So the third requirement is your evaluation as a coach. So once you feel that you have developed the right competencies, you are expected to pass a coaching recording. So in mentoring, what happens is coach, the mentor is giving you the feedback on what's your strength as a coach and what your development area. Now, when you are fully ready, you conduct a coaching session, take the permission from your coachee and record that session. That coaching is submitted for your evaluation. And you have to pass that recording on the minimum requirements of to be a coach at a different level of ACC, PCC, and MCC. So this coaching recording has to get passed. At ACC level, your minimum one recording has to meet the minimum standards. At PCC, minimum two recordings. And at MCC, again, there are minimum two recordings that need to get passed. And they are evaluated for your competencies at different level of ACC, PCC, and MCC. So the competencies are slightly different for each level. So that's the third requirement to get the ICF certification. The fourth requirement is coaching practice hours. So how much, and this is your experience as a coach. How many hours of coaching have you done on your coachees, on your clients? For ACC level, you have to have minimum 100 hours of coaching practice. For PCC, it is 500 hours, and for MCC, it is 2,500 hours of coaching. Now, this coaching practice, there are two more requirements how this 100 hours and 500 hours are constructed. Out of 100 hours at the ACC level, 75 hours has to be paid, which means you have been remunerated for that coaching. At PCC level, out of 500, 450 hours has to be paid, which means you have been remunerated. Now, the remuneration is not, there is no specific definition of the minimum remuneration that you have generated. It is because it's confidential between coach and coachee. It is left between coach and coachee to decide how much coach will charge for the coaching session. And this has to be spread across. For ACC level, these 100 hours is to be spread across at least 8 clients. And at a PCC level, these 500 hours is spread across at least 25 clients. And at a MCC level, these 2,500 hours are spread across at least 35 clients. Now here, the clients are defined as a coachee. Now, you may have signed up with the organization where you may be coaching lot of coachees. Now, you may have one client, one corporate client, where you are coaching 10 people, 10 individuals. So those will be considered as clients here. So here, client is defined as a coachee. and not as an organization. So let me just pause here once again and see if there are any questions that you have for me. Anjali, you had some questions at point number.
I think that's clear now. So out of the 100 hours, 75 needs to be paid. Like for example, if I'm working in an organization, so and I do some coaching sessions for people in my organization. So I am
Yes.
any which ways getting paid from my organization. So would that be considered here as paid, or it has to be like an external coachy or coaching session? How does that work?
Yeah. So it will be considered as paid. Suppose if you send an email to your organization saying, uh, I am in the process of getting certified by ICF. I've already completed my coach training, and or I'm undergoing my coach training. And as part of my work,
Hmm.
I would also use my official time in coaching some
Correct.
of our employees for their development. And if you have the approval for that, then it will be considered as paid hours because the organization is paying you for those hours.
Sounds good. And do we have to search? Sorry, one last question on it, if that's
Yeah,
okay. Can I go ahead? Yeah.
yeah,
So
please go ahead.
sure. So do we have to share some proof with ICF that these are our paid hours? I mean, would there be something that would be required to submit?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and many people have this confusion and doubt, you know. So ICF does not expect you to record all these sessions because coaching by definition is a confidential conversation between coach and coachee. So whatever get discussed between coach and coachee, no one apart from coach and coachee are expected to know. It's a confidential discussion. Even the organization need not to know, and we're not talking about that today because those are technicalities of coaching agreements. But suffice to say that coaching is a confidential conversation between coach and coachee, and it is not expected to be recorded or even minuted. So there is no recording or minutes are expected. All ICF expect you to have a log saying on which date whom you coached.
Sounds good.
And when you are applying to ICF, it is a self-declaration that you are making that I have completed so many hours of coaching as part of my minimum requirements for the credentials. However, ICF in their own right can ask you to either provide a sample of those logs or the complete logs. But at the application stage, it is only a declaration that you are expected to submit.
Thank you,
So
sir.
the declaration will be in a similar format. They will ask you saying, have you completed 100 hours? Yes. Have you, out of this, at least 75% of them are paid? Say yes. Does it spread across minimum 8 clients? Yes. So there are the declarations that you submit to us.
Thank you, sir. It helps.
Okay. Any other questions on this part or anything that you have discussed so far?
Hi, Rahul sir, Lakshit here.
Hi, Lakshya.
Yeah, so sir, I just have this small doubt. So, what we are talking about here, all these coaching hours, paid coaching practice hours. So, if somebody is, let's say, has no experience of being a coach whatsoever, and they are going through a coaching program where they are learning to be a coach. So, in that case, so they cannot apply for ICF credentials unless they have a certain coaching experience. This is what I'm a little bit confused here, sir.
Yes. So ICF will not give you ICF certification till the time you have met minimum experience levels,
Okay.
which means you have undergone a coach training. So you
Yeah,
have been trained or you are getting trained.
right.
Even ICF accepts your, if you have, because uh, you may start coaching even before you start training. Okay. And when you are applying to ICF, they will consider all the coaching hours in the last 18 months.
Okay.
Anything that you have coached to anyone in the last 18 months will be considered. But yes, answering your question, you need to complete the minimum hours required to be certified by ICF.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Any other question from anyone before we move ahead?
Hi, Rahul. I have one question.
Yes, go ahead, Xavier.
Rahul, you just mentioned the coaching in the last 18 months, right?
Yes.
I have experience as a trainer, which goes back to about a good 8 to 10 years back. But
Yes.
that's a sizable amount of training of close to 5 years. So would that be considered, which is well outside the 18 months window?
No, here they will only consider the last 18 months.
18 months.
Have you
Okay.
completed 100 hours or 500 hours in the last 18 months?
Understood. Okay, got it. Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you. Hi, Narinder.
So I want to ask something. Yes, I do also have got a gap in between for 2 years, but I was working in a university, and I have recently worked with one of the airlines also. It was on a contract, and I've come back, and I've just come back 2 months back only, and now I have taken up this course. So basically, the reason for taking this course is to go for a coaching and all only, and I'm also planning to open my own coaching center.
Very
So
nice.
in that way, I just want to understand how much the certificate will be helpful for me and for the coaching center which I want to open up. How much is going to be helpful for that?
Okay, so I'll tell you at two places it is helpful. Whenever you're speaking, one is once you go through the process and the rigor of completing the training, mentoring, your evaluation, and the experience. So it's a very rigorous process. So it makes you a better coach. So your competencies, so it is designed in such a manner that your competencies will for sure get developed. And because your coaching recording is also getting evaluated, so there is a fair bit of evidence. You go through that trigger, so you become a better coach in the process. So your coaching capability significantly improves. Second, when you're meeting your prospective clients and when you say that you're ICF certified coach at whatever level, ACC, PCC, or MCC level, there is no doubt in someone's mind whether on your coaching capabilities, because it is one body which is accepted around the world as the standard of coaching experience or expertise of a coach, and hence it makes your road much easier. No one has a doubt that if you meet a ICF PCC coach, then you can expect a certain level of expertise that the person will have as a coach.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now coming to the yes, Survey, yes, go ahead.
Sir, I'm holding 5 years of experience into HR. Does this certification helps me in this HR one?
Well, the way it will help is many organizations prefer to have internal coaches.
Okay.
In that, it can very significantly help. That's one. Second, once you are, say, a coach at a PCC level, then you can also, because many organizations these days are trying to build coaching as an approach, and also coaching as a culture within the organization. And then they keep looking for people who are certified and can use their services to build this culture of coaching within the organization. So these are the couple of ways in which it can significantly help you, even in your, HR as a profession.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else has any question? I think there was someone who was asking. Yeah.
Yeah, Rahul, Saurav here.
Hi, sir.
One long-term confusion in my mind. I'm seeking your views on it. Is when we are creating a log for ICF record purposes, we are writing a particular interaction as coaching. However, you would empathize with me when I say that in an organization, I'm also in the training department. There are so many types of conversations. There could be a mentoring session. There could be a training like one of our participants just now mentioned. So how do we purely and clearly classify that, yes, this is coaching, and put only that in the record, and then claim to ICF that, look, I have completed the desired number of hours and hence I'm applying. Because you said they might randomly ask for the sample, and that time it could be a difficulty
No,
to
I
explain.
think there is a confusion. What is your understanding of this sample?
So when I say what is the understanding of the sample you are asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, sample would be who was the coachee, what was the topic of discussion, or one part of the video recording or audio recording.
No. Okay. I think good you asked this question.
Yeah.
ICF does not expect you to keep any minutes of that coaching session, including the topic that was discussed, because it is a
Yeah, you said that.
confidential discussion.
Yeah, right.
So they don't expect you, and it is against the code of ethics of coaching that you are actually keeping the minutes. So what they only expect you to keep is whom you coached when. That's all. Okay. No recording, no videos, no pictures, no minutes, no documents.
Right.
It is against the code of ethics. The coachee can keep everything, but not the coach. Coach
So
cannot
what is
keep
the sample they are expecting in
So
case of?
if in case they want to validate, they may ask the following. They on the extreme case, they may ask you for all the logs. Saying whom you coached when. So just to put things in perspective, this goes a lot on trust.
Yeah,
So
of course.
They have a right to ask you for all your logs, but very rarely they would. In some cases, they may ask you to provide a sample. They say, can you share 3 coaches that you have coached, for example?
Right.
And they may not even ask when have you coached or whatever, but they have a right to ask. So you are expected to keep all the logs. They may or may not ask, but in most cases they won't, but they have a right to do it.
Right. Of course, because they are giving their credentials, they want to verify.
Yeah, so in most cases it is on self-declaration, but if in case they have suspicion, they may ask you for a validation, but which is okay. You can just with whoever you coach, you can just share. That's it.
Yeah, it's fair.
So they will not get into what was discussed and what was the level of depth on the conversation happened. And I understand. So what you're saying is some of those conversation could be confidential in nature, and at the same time, some of those conversation also have the elements which is beyond coaching. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, because we right at the beginning of the session, we differentiated coaching from every other conversation.
Which is okay. If the stated purpose of that meeting was, I think it also goes with the spirit of it. If the stated purpose of that conversation was coaching, and during the coaching process, if you felt that you may have to give them a piece of advice and say for some part of it, you are either a trainer or a mentor, I think it is acceptable because even the coaching evaluation says that during the discussion, were you playing the role of a coach? And were you consistent in playing the role of a coach? It is not that 100% of the time you have to play the role of a coach.
Yeah.
I think that's acceptable, which is okay. Don't worry.
Right. No, very good. Thanks for the clarification. I've always
and a lot of people have this confusion, because see, it is not about you. It is about the development of the person you're dealing. And if in the development process you feel that you need to do something in that moment, and if that goes beyond the scope of coaching, so be it. Because eventually it is about the development of an individual.
Yeah. And also what I know, ICF exams and all, they all focus a lot more on ethics than anything else. So from that perspective, it is on trust, as you rightly said.
Yeah. See, Vandana is seconding that point very well. She's saying my organization keeps the log absolutely confidential. I have done internal coaching, but logs are in documents of organization only. We know. Yeah, absolutely. That's in the right spirit of coaching. You don't have you should not share what was discussed.
Right.
Okay, fine. So let's move to the. Thank you. Let's move to the next in the final step, which is ICF credentialing exam. Now this is required at all levels. So this basically checks whether you understand the core competencies and code of ethics of ICF well. So this is the kind of, earlier it used to be called as coach knowledge assessment, which is now called as a ICF credit exam. And will stay muted, thank you. So there is ICF credit exam that is required at all level, which is ACC, PCC, and MCC. So if the requirements are clear, shall we move ahead and how to get it? Now let's look at the paths. What are the paths that you can take to get an ICF credential? Now, technically, there are four ways in which you can get it, and these are the pathways for that. The latest and the most updated and the fastest are the level programs. There are 3 level programs that ICF has created, which is level 1, level 2, and level 3. And they are called as level 1, level 2, level 3 programs. And they are the paths to ACC, PCC, and MCC. And I'll talk more about these programs in a bit. The second path is called as Accredited Coach Training Program, which is also called as ACTP path. Now, ACTP path are now renamed as level 1, level 2, level 3 programs. But some organizations which are, they're still running the old path because they may not have got accreditation for level 1, level 2, level 3, but that is also valid. So ICF will acknowledge ACTP path as well for the time being. And they're called as Accredited Coach Training Program. And I'll talk more about what are the difference between these. Then there is something called as Approved Coach Specific Training hours. So this is not the program, but the hours. And this is called as ACS TH path. And then there is a portfolio path. And I'll explain you the difference between the two. But just for your awareness, level program path are the fastest, easiest, and possibly the cheapest. Yeah. And they're all done to basically simplify the ICF credential for the aspiring coaches. Now let's look at what's the difference between these 3 paths. So I told you there are 5 requirements, which is coach training, mentoring, evaluation of recording, practice hours, and credit exams. Now, if you take the portfolio path, which is possibly the longest, and I'm starting with that, if you take the portfolio path, which means everything that you're doing has to be approved by ICF. Whatever training you have done, you have to tell what training you have done, what was the course, who was the mentor, where have you done it from, what all was covered as part of the training. They will also go through your recording in detail, evaluate. So ICF will do everything for that. They will evaluate your course material. They will evaluate where have you done it from. They will evaluate your recording of your coaching session. They will evaluate your practice hours and the credit exam. So everything will be done and validated by ICF. That's a portfolio path. Very rarely people go for portfolio path because that's the longest route. It consumes most time and possibly the most expensive. The second is the ACS TH path. Now in this, what happens is they have approved certain programs for the training hours and mentoring hours. So there's some training around the world they have approved, which is called as Approved Coach Specific Training Hours. The name itself says Approved Coach Specific Training Hours, which means you can get this certificate of any of the training that is approved by ICF, and then they will not validate this certificate. They will take it as you have completed the training hours and mentoring hours because they have already approved this particular training. What they will only approve is your recording. They will ask you for the recording. They will ask you for the practice hours, declaration, and the credit exam. The third way is the level program or the ACTP program that you can enroll for. Now, in this, they have simplified it further. They said, which means now you're not taking a training, but you're taking a program. So as the level program, which is level 1, level 2, level 3, which is equivalent to your pathway to ACC, PCC, or MCC, you take a program. Now, what gets covered under the program? The program covers the training hours, it covers the mentoring hours, and program also covers your coaching evaluation of your recording. So all three is done as part of the program. Once you are applying to ICF, you say, I've already completed this as part of my program, which is my training, mentoring, and evaluation of my recording is all done. You apply to ICF and they will only take your declaration for coaching practice and validate if required, and they will take your credit exam, which means this is the fastest. It happens once you have done training, mentoring, and evaluation as part of the program. Your credential gets covered within 4 weeks of your application, because they don't have to take, otherwise they take 2 to 3 months to validate your recording. Because it is done as part of the program under level and ECTP program, you only have to submit the certificate that your program is completed and your hours of practice is over, and you are ready to give the credit exam. And your ICF credential comes within 4 weeks of your application. So this is how the three pathways work. The fastest, simplest, and possibly the cheapest is this one, because otherwise what happens is, if you ask ICF to evaluate a recording, they will also charge for evaluation of those recordings. They will take a fee for evaluation of those. Let me just pause here and see if there are any questions here.
Rahul, can you clarify? I missed there was a low network. Point number 4 is the logs.
Yeah.
Is the point number 4 the logs which we were referring to some time back?
Yes.
Right. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yeah, the coach. And here ATO stands for Approved Training Organization. So you can do this from any of the approved training organization, which is approved for level 1 or level 2 or level 3. Say, for example, ProTouch is one of the approved training organization which can provide you level 1 and level 2 certificate. Once you have it, then you have to apply to, and I'll come to that now. So once you have this, how do you go ahead? What is your journey to become a certified ICF trainer? As I told you, ATO stands for Accredited Training Organization, and all the pathways. Now, what is your journey? How do you get these paths? So your first step is to enroll into a level 1 or a level 2 program. If you intend to get if you intend to go for ICF ACC certification or ICF ACC credential, then you can sign up for either level 1 or level 2 program. But if your intention is to go for the ICF PCC credential, then you have to definitely sign up for a level 2 program. Now, one thing that ICF has brilliantly simplified over the last couple of years is you can, and let me just come back to this slide. Now they allow you to apply straight for PCC and bypass ACC. Earlier, what used to happen is, first you have to get the ACC certification and then apply for PCC certification and then apply for MCC certification when your experience is completed. Now you can bypass ACC and straight away apply for PCC if you want. And therefore, a lot of coaches are straight away going for PCC and bypassing ACC. So it is like you straight away apply for masters and don't do bachelors. And if you'll see, many universities have also started offering, which is an integrated program where your bachelor's and master's are combined together. And instead of a 3 or 4 year program, you do a 5 or 6 year program. Similarly, they have also simplified it, saying you can go straight away for PCC program and bypass ACC. You straight away apply for PCC credential to IC. Now, to do that, the first step is to enroll into a level 1 or a level 2 program, which will take care of your training hours, mentoring hours, and recording evaluation. Once you have it, you get a level 1 or a level 2 program completion certificate. Then you complete your practice hours, which is 100 or 500. Once you are done with the level 1 or level 2 program and your coaching hours is completed, you apply to ICF. And they will take your credit exam and offer you the ICF ACC or PCC credentials, whichever you have applied for. Now, how much time? So any questions still here?
Hi, Rahul sir, Lakshit here again.
Hi,
So,
Lakshit.
so sir, while we are applying for the ICF application for doing the exam, does that also require to pay like a fee for that as well while applying to ICF and all the certification? First, we are like paying the fee for the program that we're enrolling ourselves, level 1, level 2, right? So
Yes.
does that take care till the application, or like I just wanted to understand that, sir?
Yeah, so I'll come to that. So I'm coming to the next slide. I'll cover that.
Okay, sir.
Now, the way it works is if you're going for, so we have 3 programs to support you in your journey to become a coach. Now, the way we have designed is many people are not very sure, because if you're going for an ACC or a PCC level, and many people these days go for PCC level, it requires a substantial investment, both monetary as well as your time investment. You have to invest a lot of time and money to get your PCC certification. Say, for example, you sign up for a PCC level program, which is a level 2 program from us, and it takes about 6 to 7 months to complete, because it is 125 hours of training, 10 hours of mentoring, and evaluation of 2 pass recording. So for 2 pass recording, you may have to submit more than 2. Sometimes you have to submit 5, 6 recordings to pass 2 recordings. Because till the time your recording is passed, you can't get your certificate from us, which is you have completed the level 2 program. So which is the level 2 pathway, which is the last one. Now, if you're signing up for ACC, which is the level 1 program, and it takes about 3 to 4 months to complete. Now, many times people are very confused about whether they are fully prepared to take that leap. Now, for that, what we have done is we have created a practitioner course, which we call a certified practitioner course. And now let me take you through our product offerings. So our first offering is called as a certified practitioner course. Now, this is a 30-hour training program, not a minimum 60 hours that is required at a ACC level. It does not involve any mentoring. It does not involve any recording evaluation. It is a very simple, you can take it as a certification program to get started to be a coach. You will still be certified as a coach, but not by ICF. This will be certified by ProTouch, SHRM, HRCI, and CPD. They are all global bodies in the world of learning and development and human resources. Through that, you will get a certificate to be a practitioner coach. And you can start, calling yourself as a certified coach, although it is not an ICF certified coach, but it's still a certified coach from global bodies. Now, this is a 30-hour program. This will give you good insights on what coaching is. The methodology framework is all as prescribed by ICF. But because the number of hours is less, it will give you a good understanding of what coaching is, give you the right tools and techniques, and you can start practicing coaching in the right way. And this we have created at a much lesser cost so that people, one is they get certified as coaches, and it will also give them a good sense of whether they are ready to make that large investment for ICF certification. 30-hour training program get completed in 1 month, and it gives you a, you can start practicing, you can start getting your client, and give you a good sense of what coaching is, and are you now, whether it's your cup of tea or not, and whether you want to make your career as a coach and invest that large sum of money into ICF credential. So it's a good, it's a snacker. It's a good snacker program, globally recognized, well certified, and you can get started. Once you're completed with this, you can upgrade yourself either to ACC or a PCC level pro, because your 30 hours is already completed. Now, if you're doing it through us, we will consider these 30 hours and continue your journey for balance 50 hours. So this 30 plus 50 makes it 180 hours. So 30 plus 50 makes it 80 hours, which crosses the minimum threshold of ACC level program. It also includes 10 hours of mentoring and clearing your one recording as part of the evaluation. And this is the level 1 program as approved by ICF, which is your path to ICF ACC. Now, once you reach here, you have a choice whether you want to apply to ICF for ACC or you want to continue your journey for a PCC path, which is you're signing up for the level 2 program, which is an additional 50 hours of training, 10 hours of mentoring, and clearing your 2 recordings evaluation, which means 2 pass recording. You may have to submit more than 2 to make 2 recording pass. This entire pathway, if you take the ACC path, it takes approximately 3 to 4 months, including the first month of 30 hours of training. And if you are going for level 2 program, which is PCC, it takes approximately 6 to 7 months to complete the entire training of 125 hours. It is 130 hours in our case, which crosses the minimum threshold of 125 hours as required by IC. One reason that we have kept at an ACC level 1 program 80 hours instead of 60 hours, because we feel that 60 hours is slightly short to build competency at an ACC level. So, we have built in 20 more hours so that at least, to make you better coaches. But ICF require minimum 60, so this program crosses that threshold of 60, so it is about 80 hours.